Lady, the problem isn't in my pants. Mex-Men.
When you're running the screen to a bigger screen than what that is, it uses more RAM.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yep. But
He knows a lot about RAM.
yeah, RAM.
Like the Dodge car, or like just ramming?
Just ramming in general.
Uh-huh.
All kinds of RAM.
He always fucks with the Dodge truck.
Better than bestiality, if you ask me.
Better than fucking a Ram.
Yeah. Rather fuck a truck than a Ram.
Just right in the tailpipe, huh?
That's an actual thing, though, that people have, where they're sexually attracted to vehicles.
Oh, yeah, there have been people who've married their car.
Yeah, what's his name? Madison Jeffries?
Welcome to this issue of Mex-Men. I'm Tony.
I'm Justin.
I'm Devin.
And today is our 50th episode, and we're going to be going over Deadly Genesis Part 1.
Yeah, because it's so seminal.
You're seminal. You slut.
I think you're thinking of seminal.
Seaman! You ever seen that South Park where the Aquaman character, and they keep on calling him Seaman? And he's like, it's Seaman!
I didn't, but that's great.
Thank you, Seaman! Seaman! Yeah, happy 50, guys.
Happy 50.
We made it.
Almost a year. Which is like my favorite part of this. It's not even a year yet. It's just before.
Yeah, but I
it's
mean,
50.
it's almost like 2 years for us. We just lost a year's worth of
no.
content.
Yeah, basically.
So, could have been our 100th episode.
Yeah, so getting right into it.
Yeah, get right into it.
So the cover of this, though, is a play off the
Giant
cover
size.
last week. Yeah, the giant size, except they're all skeletons. So that's pretty dope. I like that they did that callback there.
Because it's a deadly Genesis.
Yeah, even though...
Which they said it then, too,
yeah,
right?
I thought that was supposed to be second Genesis, but they said Deadly Genesis on that as well. So this is the second Deadly Genesis.
Yeah,
But
I
it's
mean,
the third,
technically,
because they did second Genesis like in the middle of the book.
I still feel like that was the first Genesis.
No, I think they meant in terms of like the X-Men.
Being born.
And that's the second iteration of the X-Men. It's like a new beginning of X-Men with Nightcrawler and Wolverine and Storm and Colossus. I mean, Thunderbird. Come on. He's about to
Who's
die.
that? I never heard of that guy.
I mean,
Yeah.
I'm just saying they should retroactively go back and rename X-Men #1 Genesis.
Yeah, you'd think. They're just like, nah, you'll get it.
yeah.
Just Stan Lee, he planned for there to be several genocides. So he named the first one the first Genesis.
Or this should have just been named the Deadlier
Pretty much.
Genesis. Yeah. So anyway, it starts with Scott and Hank just talking about life on their terrace.
About life, yeah. The life of a giant sentinel that's sitting on their front lawn.
and a genocide. The second,
Genocide.
biggest mutant genocide, but the second mutant genocide. Because Genosha being the first one.
Yeah. It does start pretty
Is
funny.
Genosha the first
Like
biggest,
in the comics?
like the biggest genocide?
16 million mutants.
For mutants?
Yeah, I feel like M-Day would be bigger.
That's what I said. I said that was bigger than Genosha, but it was technically the second genocide to happen. So first biggest, second in order of date.
Second genocide. I used to always play Sonic on that.
This is second genocide?
Yeah.
That's so funny because I was already thinking Sega Genesis, and now you're bringing up Sonic.
Genocide.
Yeah, when you say it nice like that, it just sounds great.
I know, it sounds
wrong
lovely.
It sounds like another type of sports drink, like Gatorade.
Try new Coke's Genocide.
Well, that sounds like a video game soft drink. That's like competing with
Game
Game
Fuel.
Fuel for Mountain Dew.
Which is like Mountain Dew was already the drink of gamers, and they were like, we need to come out with a different drink,
With a
also for gamers.
A more expensive drink. That's what it was.
They're competing with their own market.
This one's red.
Just call it Cherry Mountain Dew, you lazy bastards. It would have sold better. Like, wouldn't you buy a Cherry Mountain Dew, but instead you got Code Red, which is just Cherry Mountain Dew, but for some reason it doesn't taste as good as Cherry Mountain Dew.
No, because you want to taste Code.
Yeah.
It sounds cooler.
Yeah.
Joe
I feel like
Red.
you're in something. You're like in on a secret when you're buying Code Red.
Is that why you never buy Code Red?
Yeah.
Because you're the only one fucking buying Code Red.
So anyway, Scott's like, man, yeah, this is crazy. Sentinels just hovering around us, and Beast's like, nah, I mean, that sucks, but not that. Like, I was just thinking about how we lost all those mutants from M-Day and all that, and, like, wondering, where'd the power go? Because, like, it had to have gone somewhere. And then you see in space a wrecked shuttle and
I thought you said erect.
erect
An erect shuttle.
Just a giant.
that shuttle is hard.
It's that spaceship from Austin Powers. It looks like a big hard throbbing cock.
Well, most rockets kind of do. Like, that's the whole point of them, is to look erect and
That's the whole point of rockets, to look like dicks.
yeah,
The whole point.
to literally fuck the sky. Humans found a way to fuck the sky and outer space.
They do blast off, so
Yeah,
a lot of things in common over here.
yeah. So, I don't know why they illustrate some crazy energy signature outside of Earth, unless they're referencing, like, because it's weird. They reference something that happened a little while ago, but the energy signature is happening in that moment,
Maybe like Goku pulling in for a spirit bomb.
right? Just a random cameo.
Yeah, I mean, they did with Frieza.
Yeah. Well, later they do with Frieza. And then, so we see like a wrecked shuttle, and that NASA's trying to communicate with the people who are obviously dead. And next to it is like some landmass that's also, as we know, Krakoa, because of course it is, because that got shot into space when Polaris was like, no more gravity for you. That's what happened.
Yeah, I mean,
They just decided that
was-
island didn't have gravity no more.
we've been over this. It's because that's how magnets work.
Yeah.
You made it sound like she just grounded him. Like he was a bad boy. No more gravity for you, Krakoa.
Yeah, basically.
Makes like a YouTube video for breaking gravity.
I
Trying to
mean,
embarrass her.
also the Summers brother crossed streams to shoot into a magnetic vagina, but I don't know how that also stopped gravity from working. Somehow it did, because it went to the core of the Earth.
They just blasted the hole so she can get in there. They created the vagina. That's what it was. They created the vagina, and then Polaris did the work.
No, like the magnetic wave has kind of made a vagina-looking thing in the panel. That's what I was talking about.
So is it,
But yeah.
oh, I see what's going on here.
Yeah, they crossed streams, and they shot it right into...
It's like Ghostbusters.
Krakoa doesn't know who its dad is. I was getting that. But anyway, birth from Krakoa is somehow their brother.
Whoa.
Vulcan. I mean, if they don't know this by now, then oops.
Yeah, just so everybody knows, there's going to be a mystery guy. These whole 3 issues that we're doing in this episode, and we're just going to tell you who it is.
Yeah, it's Vulcan. I mean, they
Who?
tell you who it is. Vulcan.
We know it's Vulcan, but
You
we
know,
don't
Gabriel
know
Summers.
Who? Yeah, we don't know that yet.
Oh, well, shoot.
And now you do.
So, anyway, he straight up is reborn from, like, the dirt of Krakoa, it looks like. And he goes into the shuttle, and he sees all the fucked up astronauts. He's like, what the hell happened to you guys? That's nuts. And then he looks at the date and is like, no way. This is the 21st century. That's insane.
Which, think how long has
Also-
it been? Like 6 years or some shit like that?
Technically,
Technically, 6 years in 2005 was the difference between centuries. So
Well, yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, because he's like, it's a new century, and it's like, it hasn't really been that long. It's like one of those people. It's like, I'll see you next year.
yeah,
When it's going to be like 5 minutes, you know?
so people you hate,
Yeah.
people we all hate.
That's what he's acting like, and it's like, dude, you're not that. You're not like Captain America, asleep for 40 years. It's been what, 5 years or something? Like,
but also like that's if you're taking the sliding time scale into account. But like,
yeah.
Sometimes they're weird with that, where they're like, yeah, it's been 50 years. We've only aged 4 years, but it's been 50 years.
yeah, and that's what he's like. He's like, it's hit. He's hit with the shock of like it's been,
1 week since you looked at me.
fuck you. No, since since Giant Size, it's been like 40
while?
years.
Yeah, about.
Yeah. So maybe he's like, holy shit, it's been 40 years, but also not. Because the sliding timescale doesn't exactly make sense because everyone's always in the contemporary time that it is throughout comics.
Maybe it's like in the first episode of Futurama when Fry gets frozen and put like 1,000 years in the future, and they tell him it's the year 3000. He's like, "Oh my god, 1,000,000 years."
Yeah, maybe Vulcan has Fry brain.
It had to have been like, what, 10 years max?
So Vulcan's his own grandparent.
Yeah, I mean, by now, the way it's structured, sure. But also, sure, Vulcan's his own grandparent.
Well, because you said Fry brain, and the reason Fry's brain is the way it is in Futurama because he fucked his grandma and made himself.
Ew. No, Vulcan, he gets like microwaved, right? Like into being bigger, faster, like just older, quicker.
You would be
Be a better slave.
You would be the Vulcan expert here.
Yeah. So that's gotta fuck with your brain. He was like an infant, and they were like, "Now you're 20."
He's a baby hot pocket. He's still cold on the inside.
That explains why he's so mad. So yeah, Vulcan sees that it's later, and he gets real mad. And then,
Which I think you should probably be happy he's alive, but he's just mad.
And then we get some exposition from Nightcrawler and Colossus where they're reminiscing about the good old days when they first met and how nice Xavier was to them. And then like, wonder where that guy is. We haven't seen him since M-Day. We hope he's okay. So you know that like the X-Men are looking for Xavier, and also that they're thinking about the book that this is based on. Like tying, like, oh, remember Giant Size X-Men? Because this is going to connect to that a lot.
Yeah, they kind of go back and show the scenes of, like, remember when you first met Xavier? And they show Nightcrawler running away from the mob.
Yeah, a smarter Nightcrawler than what we actually read, where he's straight up like, I'll take your punches.
Yeah. Headbutt off the top rope.
So, anyway.
We can't go 1 week without referencing Chris Benoit. Normally, I would think it was me that was the problem, but it's not just me.
Hey, I didn't mention the name. You brought him up.
Speaking of head injuries, Emma Frost. She's on Cerebro, looking around for mutants as they do, because mutants are gone, and they're also looking for Xavier, and they see a giant energy spike, and it's an Omega level mutant, so they're like, maybe that's Xavier or a different mutant. And then she gets the Cerebro braingasm that happens. Because, of course, it always fucking happens when someone's on Cerebro.
I think they'd make that thing safer by now.
Yeah. And then Kitty happens to be there. So she gets, like, residual psychic imagery from Emma when Emma gets hit with this psychic bomb. And so she sees that there's a shuttle that's coming through the atmosphere, but instead of going toward Houston where it should be, it's going to upstate New York.
Yeah, we should mention that this story takes place right in the middle of Whedon's astonishing run.
Yeah, because we were just thinking, isn't she in a giant bullet by now? And apparently not.
Yeah, and it also explains why it's everybody we see is from the astonishing team.
Yeah, it's that era.
Yeah. Although it does make me wonder, reading all of Astonishing, they never fucking...
Mention this stuff, yeah.
Yeah, and Astonishing happened, or like, House M happened a little bit before this, would have been like towards the beginning of Whedon's run.
Yeah, it would have been really important.
Well, his whole thing is he wanted to make it a standalone. Whedon's run. He wanted it to be like no tie-ins, kind of its own thing.
Which is weird that they made like 50 issues of Astonishing running off of that.
Well,
Yeah.
he stopped at like, what, 22 or 26 or something like that?
He stopped when he rocketed
25
her
in the
off
giant
into space.
size?
And then Warren Ellis took it over for a while.
Yeah, and then he actually tied in a bunch of stuff from M-Day.
Yeah, two guys that got Me Too'd.
Oh,
Because,
was it?
yeah, Warren Ellis just got the whole Me Too'd thing.
What did he do, dude?
He pulled the Joss Whedon.
Oh. That's so funny. He follows him in X-Men and then in Crime.
What did Joss Whedon do?
Same thing as Warren Ellis.
What did Warren Ellis do?
It was, they were using their power to have sex with people that worked for them.
They were like,
I don't know if I
shall
need more
blow me.
explanation.
while holding a scepter. It's very comic booky. But terrible. It's a horrible crime.
It's got Loki's scepter.
Yeah. they had the Loki poke stick.
So Loki pokey.
It's terrible. Anyway, speaking of sex offenders, Wolverine.
That is a thing in Joe Kelly's Deadpool that I've been reading. Deadpool does call Wolverine out for always taking on young women.
Yeah. So, Kitty updates Cyclops as they're rushing Emma to, I guess, the infirmary of the mansion. And then Scott puts together a team of Wolverine and Rachel to go find out, what this thing is. And Wolverine's all like, hey, I'm all for leaving in a Blackbird to go find, Professor Xavier or whoever this person may be. But, like, how are we going to get past the Sentinels? And Cyclops, like, don't worry. Hank and I figured something out. And he just, like, banks around the Sentinel. And then Wolverine's like, yeah, that's great, but they're going to follow us. And he's like, oh, ye of little faith, watch this. And then he throws, like, some weird heat signature things out the back of the Blackbird. And it's like, now they don't know what direction we're going in.
They're called missiles.
They didn't look like missiles. They looked like little balls.
I think they were because he was just shooting out missiles to get the heat signature after him.
Unless they're just showing the back of them, so they're really rounded. But, like, yeah,
That's what I assumed, but
I looked at him and I was like, oh, that looks weird.
maybe he was just shooting balls.
Yeah.
It's kind of like the oldest trick in the book. He made it sound like it was some crazy thing he did.
Yeah.
Look how smart I am.
Yeah,
Me and Hank came up with this. Most of my idea.
If you look at it real close, it's the front of a missile, and you can see fins poking out.
All right.
It's just the aspect ratio.
That's right. We did say, dicks piercing the sky and all that stuff. It'd have to be a shaft.
Everything's a dick. You've seen Alien.
Yeah, everything's a dick. So how are we designing this thing? Everything's a dick. The tongue, it's a dick.
The tongue is a... I mean, when you think about it, the plot to Alien is a vagina spider face fucks a dick into a guy's stomach.
Oh, God. That's terrible. That's really
write
painful.
Alien?
I mean, also, you watch it, and it's really painful looking.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Justin has nothing to add to this.
No.
I'm going to let this one pass.
So Nightcrawler, what's he doing during all this?
Oh, nothing.
What about Kitty?
Nothing yet. So anyway, they shoot past the Sentinels and all that stuff happens. And then Kitty is like washing her face because like she just watched Emma Frost have a weird orgasm and is like, I can't get that out of my brain. Because she's now having thoughts of like, I thought I was straight, And then she looks in the mirror and sees the corpse of Colossus behind her and freaks out. But then sees it's actually just Peter himself. And she's like, never mind.
Which is...
I am straight.
Which is... No, I think you're misreading that. It's clearly a metaphor for Dick is dead to her now.
Well, she hugs him, so... But okay.
Well, it's literally a dead Peter.
Coincidence? I think not.
I think not.
And they say we're all sex jokes. So...
It did say she got mind fucked.
Yeah.
Not the first time Emma did that.
No. It's kind of her thing.
So anyway, Nightcrawler is just hanging out in the woods like he does, and then suddenly he's being chased by a mob. That's a ghost mob, and he's like, "Oh no!"
Say it's Ghost Town.
And so Nightcrawler apparently can't notice that a mob is a ghost mob.
Well, he's focused on owls. That's all he can focus on.
Oh, I didn't even notice the owl thing.
Yeah, he's like, oh, an owl at this time of day?
He's like,
almost night?
barely sunset.
Yeah, he's like, the sun just came down. Like, owls are never up this
This
early.
is nuts.
Yeah, and it's drawn. It's nighttime. He's like, how dare this owl be out here?
Next, I'm going to see a bat. So yeah, he starts running because angry ghost mob, and then he's like, "Oh no, don't hurt me!" And then they disappear, and he's like, "Oh, that was really weird. I will tell no one."
Let me just keep that to myself.
And then the X-Men who are out in the field, Wolverine, Cyclops, and Marvel Girl, who's Rachel, and I don't know why I just said and. They're in the Blackbird, and they're like, well, we found the shuttle because a big ol' Earth hand is just like clutching it, and Wolverine's like
Jerking it off, clearly, because everything's dicks.
that's exactly it. And Wolverine's like, I smell something. It's a big old hand. So they get there, and they're like, all right, so safe to say this probably isn't Xavier then, but we gotta go check out what this is. And Cyclops all like, here I thought Rachel was the only one who could read minds. That was a weird line.
Yeah, that joke's never been used before.
He's been waiting on that one. He's like, guys, it's my first joke.
He's just like winking at him, but they can't tell.
Get it?
Or even creepier, half the visor closes.
So yeah, meanwhile, Banshee is investigating for Beast. Beast asked him to go to Muir Island to check around Moira's lab and stuff for any sign of Xavier, because I guess she's missing too.
That's got to be... that's poor planning, right? You're like, your name's Moira, and you set up on Muir
Island?
Yeah. You just did that to annoy people.
Yes, Claremont did.
Yeah.
He does a lot of things to annoy people.
So back in the day, all the alliteration.
Moira Muir?
Moira McTaggart, but
On
on
Muir
Muir Island is it's weird. Like Sally sells seashells
Where?
by the seashore.
Where can you?
Suspense was killing me.
Where's that little bitch selling her seashells?
She doesn't have a permit.
Oh, we checked the docks. She's not there.
We checked that spot that you told us to find Shelly at, and her corpse was discovered this morning. Sorry, she's dead.
Turns out she wasn't paying attention to the tide. Just drowned.
Turns out Shelly just wasn't selling seashells. She was selling smack.
Also, it's Sally. You keep saying Shelly.
They were partners. And the Law and Order theme starts.
Dun, 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 dun. All right. So anyway, Banshee's investigating for Beast, and he's all like, "Man, it's so weird. My dick still gets hard in our bed."
Yeah, why did they send Banshee of all the people?
Because he's like, it's like she's still here, but like she's not. And then he's like, wait a minute, never mind. Because he sees her figure outside.
In our relationship, I was the screamer.
Ew. The implications of that. Oh no. I just thought of that reverse missionary position.
The Amazon.
Oh, it's terrible.
Have you heard of that, Justin?
Yeah.
If you don't know, it's basically
Just Google it.
Just
Google it.
Just what's the opposite of missionary?
And no, it's not cowgirl.
And it's not really the opposite of missionary. It's more of like the opposite of jackhammer.
Yeah, kinda. Or it's missionary, but in the opposite order. Anyway, so the X-Men are investigating the crash, and they see Jean. And Rachel's like,
When do they not see Jean?
Mom? And runs, and they're like, no.
We've been through this so many times.
So many times.
When she comes back from the dead, she calls us.
Yes. There's fire involved. That's an old costume. You're freaking out.
She doesn't come out of the ground.
At least they were smart enough, though. Everybody else was like, huh? They see a dead person and they're like, fine with it. No
The
questions
Cyclops
asked.
could barely see with the glasses on, and then Wolverine could smell.
That's not.
That doesn't smell like your girlfriend.
He's like, wife. So anyway,
Vulcan.
yeah, no, I know. I was trying to think of Rachel. So Rachel ran in there only to get fucked up because she reemerges
Really quick.
in Vulcan's hand, like just getting choked.
Some good artwork, though. I like that. Like half of them is shadowed. You see just one glowing eye.
Yeah.
Like Cable.
And so then, as they should, Wolverine and Cyclops are like, well, we got to beat this guy up, and they attack him because that means he's a bad hitter.
His Cyclops is like, nobody chokes a gray that's not me besides Wolverine.
And then Wolverine's like, well, I mean, I prefer to stab.
Stabby.
Anyway, back to Banshee, because it just keeps going back and forth between these two at this point.
As much as I like Cyclops, I do imagine some girl telling him that she likes getting choked, and he's like, I just don't want to hurt you.
You know what? I agree with that. I'm so
That's 'cause
anti-choking.
You've never choked somebody.
I've choked someone sparring.
Is that what you're calling
Did you
it?
come?
No,
Then it's not the same
it was
thing.
a weird naked choke.
Oh, it was it?
Mine was a real naked choke.
A real naked choke. I just can't imagine to be like, okay, because sex is so awesome, you know? And it's like, you're just appreciating that they're having sex with you in that moment. Why would you want to then go, thank you for that, and just grab their throat? Like,
Yeah, that's not how it happens. They ask you. It's their idea.
that would still take
You
me out
just
of it.
go around choking random people.
That would still take me out of it. Just like, I don't know. I don't want to, like, almost murder you.
Then learn how to choke.
That's the problem. I know how to choke.
Like a girl
I'm a
asked,
trained martial artist. I
a
know
girl
how to
asks
choke.
you to choke her, and you just got your forearm against, like this. Gurgle twice if I'm doing it right.
Anyway. Are we going to get canceled for any of this?
All the choke talk was consensual.
Yes.
Only consensual choking.
We get more press than we ever imagined, and it's all negative.
At this point, we can't be canceled. It would only be good for our careers.
Anyway, so it turns out like Moira has like this weird ghost that Banshee is following, and then it just leads him to this file room of like A-tracks. And he's like,
Golden oldies.
Yeah. It's like, this is definitely not from the 80s. That's another weird thing, right? They still, like, it's supposed to be a time period that slides, you know, the whole sliding timeline.
Yeah.
But they're obviously using technology that's old as fuck. Because that straight up looks like one of those actual tape deck tape recorders later when they find it. That, like,
Yeah, I mean, maybe
that was totally used in the early 2000s, late 90s.
maybe they just have a shit budget. Like, there's still computers in schools that are from, like, the 80s.
Banshee was old when he started, and so was Xavier, though, so that makes sense.
Yeah.
It could be from their past. So you take it, or guess Moira is probably older, too. Or she's just into old dudes.
She's definitely into old dudes.
Both. Well, no, they went to college together, right? Her and Xavier.
Yeah, but I feel like she was going to college, and he went to a college to find college girls. Like, he was 47, like, at that college looking for women.
Like, do you go to this school? I go to a school. I own it.
I come to this school.
You're like, I'm here, aren't I?
I said nothing about attending classes.
All right. So anyway, Banshee, he ends up in that file room, just like, oh, no ghost here, but evidence maybe? Of what? I don't know yet. And then back to Vulcan just beating up Scott and Logan because they're trying real hard. Like, he shoots a lightning bolt at Wolverine, and then Cyclops is like, optic blast, and he's like, talk to the hand, and he makes the optic blast swirl around, and he's like, taste your own optic blast, and then Wolverine gets hit again, and then Cyclops is hit by it. And I thought he wasn't supposed to get hurt by his own optic blast, but they decided, nah.
No, yeah, he's not supposed to. But I guess it didn't
He
show
got
him.
fucked
Maybe he hit him in that one spot.
Right?
Like, he just decapitates Cyclops.
It didn't show him in pain, though.
Yeah, it did. Because he basically faints. He gets knocked back into that rock and shit.
Maybe it was The Rock.
It's always the rock.
Ooh, no, I think they shot Wolverine into him.
I just thought they got hit both at the same time.
I mean, it could be, but it kind of looks like Wolverine was shot into the ground and then blew back Cyclops.
Got blasted away, yeah.
Yeah.
Because it cuts immediately to Wolverine being hurt, not Cyclops.
Yeah, and he's all like, I'm going to kill you. And he's like, no, you ain't. And then he smashes more lightning on him.
Because while Cyclops and Havoc's powers don't hurt each other, they are hurt by Vulcan's powers.
Yeah.
Also, like, Wolverine weighs a lot, so if he would have thrown in Cyclops.
But that was a really dope.
Yeah, but he
image,
was thrown into the ground.
Yeah, but he's like 400 pounds or something.
Sure.
So maybe aftershock.
Yeah, but he doesn't touch him.
The ground.
Whatever. It's a panel. They do whatever they want in panels and then say other things. So then that happens, and then Vulcan's like, I don't need this guy, so he could be dead. This chick, though, seems like her powers are a little stronger than I gave her credit for, so she's useful. And then obviously I'm gonna need Cyclops here, so then he just sort of drags Cyclops and Rachel
I like how he's
into the
like,
cave.
her powers are way stronger than I thought they were, but you knocked her out in 2 seconds.
Yeah, and he was like, I shut off her brain sorta for a little bit, and they're just like, oh. It's like, why are you choking her then? That seems a bit rude.
I know, he's just into it.
It's just sort of my thing.
On the Summers, who's into weird sex stuff.
And Scott's like, oh. Thought that was me.
I mean, no, Scott, technically, he doesn't even have sex with his pants on.
That's weird in a different way. Like, he's the one who has the super repressed sex.
Yeah.
He didn't actually big up Marvel Girl yet about her powers. He says, we're going to need, I guess we'll have a use for you, because Scott's like, doesn't remember him. He's like, oh, you don't remember me?
Oh, yeah.
That's perfect. I guess there's a use for the girl after all.
Yeah, that's right. And then back to Ghost Moira. Well, not
So it was
Ghost Moira.
she was a ghost in the recording.
Yeah, I guess. Back to Banshee, and he's watching a recording of one of the files, and she's like, okay, so you have to remember, Xavier is a douche.
Yeah.
Whatever you do, future me, remember, Xavier sucks.
Because for some reason you keep forgetting. I have no idea why.
That panel that Kitty thought about at the beginning of Astonishing still works.
And then Wolverine wakes up after having healed, and he's surrounded by Sentinels and one soldiers, or ONE.
I was thinking he's surrounded by one Sentinel. There's several soldiers.
Yeah. Yeah. So he's like, fuck. Because, they sent out search parties for them after they had left. And then we get a little short story of Petra, who's a mutant who can manipulate Earth. And it, shows that...
She's an earthbender.
Yeah, basically. So she got her powers when she was, hiking with her family... And then suddenly there was a rock slide, and it murdered everyone but her.
Yep.
Crazy way to learn you have superpowers.
Happening. You have a 50% chance of killing your family when you get your powers, and you living.
Yeah, well,
that's something too, right? That she doesn't know if she caused it or if she just protected herself. But then, she had the ability to protect her parents then, and her brother, but didn't because she didn't know how.
I mean, for all we know, there's 8 out of 10 times that a mutant discovers his powers, he kills himself and his entire family.
Right.
But nobody bothers to check, so there's not stories about them.
It's crazy how few people Cyclops has killed.
Yeah, you would think he
Considering his
definitely would
power.
have killed somebody.
Yeah, even the one person he thought he did kill, they retconned to be like, oh no, he didn't die.
Oh, it's Sinister, right?
And in fact, he came back as some weird villain. It was a person, but Sinister influenced it, and I think he even made the person kind of a villain afterwards.
I thought Sinister was fucking with his mind and make him think he killed somebody when he didn't.
Yeah, it's in those First Class books.
Yeah.
So I don't know if those are canon or not, but they're pretty cool.
But yeah, because she does that. She with her parents, and then the third short story we'll get into, it's the same thing. Same story. And then you go to Tildy in Astonishing. Same thing.
See, I was more weirded out, though, that once we get into the Darwin story, his mom happens to accidentally burn the house down on the one night he's there. That bitch was trying to kill him.
Maybe. That's weird, because she was also making money off him. But anyway, this person, Petra.
Yeah.
Whose name is, I think it's an Earth name. It means rock or some shit. So she gets put into foster care with
Isn't Petra an oil thing?
petrol. Petrol is oil.
I would assume they're from the same.
Petra, it's some language that it means rock. I mean, because I know Italian, it's Pietra is rock, and it's really weird that I know that. It's a really weird specific thing I know.
The whole oil is from bones ground down by rocks and sitting festering in the ground. So
Yes.
I assumed her name has something to do with that.
Uh,
From just maybe closing in on something. They seem like they'd be from the same root word.
yeah, shit inside dirt.
Speaking of shit, she lives in a butthole that she made into a vagina.
That is a thing that happens. So she's homeless, but it goes into why she's homeless. So she was put in foster care, and the foster mother was one of those douchebag people who are just collecting checks, and they're taking as many foster kids as they can physically house while being terrible. And then the foster father was a lot nicer, but it's because he's a pedophile. And so she goes into well, she doesn't. That's one of the annoying things about these stories is that the narration's all third person. And so that's just sort of annoying. The narrator tells you that he tries to touch her at one point, and so she uses her powers on him and then runs away into Central Park, and then that's when she turns a butthole into a vagina.
Yeah, because there's a rock hole in the wall that looks like a butthole. She's I don't know if I can fit in that, but let me turn it into a vagina.
Let me loosen this up.
Yeah.
And then she lives in the vagina.
It was funny when that dude, that foster parent, like she puts him in the rocks or whatever. After he tries to touch her, she says, or the narration says, his eyes said he knew what she was. But he's actually saying it with his mouth.
Yeah, he does. He's like, you're muted.
He's like, what? His lips said it, not his eyes.
No, his eyes literally spoke.
There's the word bubble coming up. Like, what?
Each one of his eyes is the orb.
Yeah, I was just going to say he's the orb. So, anyway, she ends up, she starts to panhandle and steal and all this stuff, except for drugs and prostitution. They're very clear, well, vague. About the prostitution thing, but very clear about the no drugs thing. Because, like, she won't resort to the stuff other people do for money.
Yeah.
And then also
stealing.
Won't do drugs. So it's like, wait, you specified don't do drugs, so then what's the other thing?
But counterfeit diamonds? Hell yeah.
Well, no, she makes real diamonds. Right? That's her power.
I mean, technically, the only real diamonds are owned by De Beers.
I don't even like SNL, but this makes me think that stupid De Beers thing. But yeah.
It's like that dumb thing with champagne. Where it's like,
it's only champagne if it's from France?
Technically, only diamonds are from France. If it's not from France, then just sparkling rocks.
Okay. But yeah. So she's like, I turned this piece of coal into a big-ass diamond. And a guy's like, that's a big-ass diamond. And he gives her a bunch of money for it. And she's like, sweet, I'm going to rent a motel room for an hour and take a shower. Like, you're definitely in, like, a fucking prostitution motel.
Yeah, but she had to add a shower in 2 months.
Smelled like
so gross.
Shit.
Which, like, you can go to the YMCA. She's in New York.
Yeah.
They have homeless shelters.
Well, she can't. She's a woman.
They don't allow them in the YMCA.
Young men's, recreation center? Or no, YMCA. What does it stand for again? Christian. That's what it is.
Young
men's Christian.
Man, they gotta be real upset about that song.
That's what I said. I said that exact thing to her because there's a YWCA in Flint, and I was like, YWCA? She's like, yeah, like the YMCA, but for women. And I was like, oh, because I didn't think that the YMCA wasn't for women. And then it turns out, well, because, Christians, they want men and women separated, I guess, because fucking,
they don't like women.
And it was, I thought it was so hilarious, like, but the village people.
That's what you get. Also, priests.
That, you know what? That was probably a conscious decision then to have them. Anyway, so she gets ratted out after she does the diamond thing a few too many times, even after she starts making them smaller and less conspicuous. And then police just sort of show up outside her vagina hole in the rock.
Did you say vaginal?
Vagina hole.
I thought you said vagina hole.
Vagina hole.
Vaginal hole. Is what it sounds
Vagina hole? No. So she shows up there and sees the police, and they're like, hey, you. And she's like, eat rocks. Literally. She throws a bunch of rocks at them. And then they tase her, and then she wakes up in somewhere that's obviously like a jail of some sort.
Looks like an army medical tent.
Is it? I just look like
she's
concrete
not in
walls.
that. I'm saying the way it's designed.
Yeah,
because I know she's like in a psych ward or something, but it looks like the way it's designed with the room and shit looks like just like a army medical tent or something.
And there's like a guard, like a chubby lady who's a guard who's walking her, and she's like, am I in a juvenile place or a jail? And she's like, no, you probably should be though. But no, it's like so like cheerful looking, like she's just like smiling on her face. It's like, oh,
she isn't a YMCA.
But she's like, nah, someone wants to talk to you. And she's like, all right. And then it ends there.
Yep. And we spent 40 or 50 minutes on the first issue.
Yeah, but that was a lot of stuff was going on in that one. My notes are a lot less for the rest of them. So like part 2, or issue 2, ONE's questioning the X-Men that are there, like, how come we found your boy out here and a crash shuttle in a hand? What's going on? This ain't Houston. And they're like, yeah, we know it ain't Houston. It's New York.
It's like, why do I got this problem?
And they're like, can you just give us back our Wolverine? He's got mental issues. Trust us, you don't want to have him.
You don't want to get too close to him. He'll stab you right in the fucking stomach.
Yeah. And they're like, no, we're not going to give you that guy. We want answers. And they're like, we don't got answers for you. We want our guy. And finally they resort to, okay, psychically do what we want.
Well, first they went, wait a minute, he's Canadian.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Diplomatic immunity. And they're like, Patriot Act. And they're like, so we're terrorists to you? And it's like, we don't know what you are.
You're blue and furry. The Beast kept trying to be to calm her head this whole time.
Are you a monkey or are you a cat?
Pick one.
He's like, I'm a lion.
So they end up brainwashing the guy to do what they say. And he's like, he goes to a inferior officer and he's like, take these people to their Wolverine and give him back to them. And he's like, you sure? And he's like, yeah. I'm like, all right. And then they're like, hey, they don't have like any psychics on board the ship, do they? And they're like, no, we scanned it and there's only the two of them. They don't have psychic powers. It's not in our Sentinel files, so it should be all good. And they take Wolverine and they go onto the ship and lo and behold, Emma Frost is there. And they're like, oh, that makes sense. You psychically made him do what you wanted him to do. And like, yeah, how did you get past the Sentinels? Plot hole.
Yeah,
Power I'll never use again.
It turns out cameras have brains. And I can make them not see me.
Well, that would make her a lot more powerful if they actually used that.
Yeah.
She was able to use like their frequency, like use a different frequency and travel along that frequency into the Sentinels, which is insane and never to be brought up again.
No. So then Scott wakes up and he's all like tied to a wall of dirt or stone or whatever, and so is Rachel. And he's like, what, where are we? And she's like, but you don't got your visor on. And he's like, oh no.
I thought it was on.
He has such a stupid surprise face in this book. He has it like 2 or 3 times.
Like, turns out I was Gambit all along.
You think he would know? Like, that'd be the first thing he thinks.
Yeah, like my face feels lighter.
Yeah, like, because obviously his whole thing about being afraid of killing somebody at all times, you would think he'd think about his visor being on before he starts opening his eyes and killing everyone.
Like, I could strangely see colors right now.
Right? Right?
Nothing's yellow.
I was just gonna say. Fucking beat me to it. Anyway, back at the mansion, they're trying to fix Cerebro because it breaks every time someone has a braingasm. And
stop jerking off while using the machine. I know how
tell that to those psychics.
I know that's how Xavier used it, but he did it for his own issues.
So they're trying to fix it, and Havoc's just standing there. And then he gets impatient, and he's just blowing shit up. And they're like, yo, what the fuck, man? And he's like, I need my brother.
They're like,
where
counterproductive.
Is he? And they're like, we're trying to fix the mutant finding machine. We need to find your brother. We don't know where he is. You don't think that it would be a good idea for this machine to be fixed to find him?
Like, we're fixing stuff and you're breaking stuff.
Yeah.
Go to your room, Alex.
This is exactly why Lorna fucked Bobby.
And he's like,
because he's chill.
No, but he's like, we're just sitting on our hands doing nothing. We need to be out there. And they're like, out where? We need the thing that tells us where to go.
Which he's the one sitting on his hands because they're actually doing something and he's just there.
Exactly.
Well, he's trying to do the stranger. He's sitting on his hands.
He throws a straight temper tantrum like a little child, though. Not the first time.
Yeah.
Or the last time.
Yeah. It just really dumb out of nowhere. And then he storms out after they're like, after Beast is like, politely, get the fuck out of here.
No, I'm the reasonable one.
He does tell him like a parent. He's got his hand outstretched, pointed. Go to your room, Alex, and don't come out till you thought about what you've done.
Yeah. And so he's walking in the hallway, and then he starts seeing quote-unquote ghosts.
That's
of
the worst. He had the worst ghost image.
Yeah.
Everybody else just sees him like, no, come back. And he's like, again? My girlfriend's cheating on me in front of me.
Yeah, he sees Lorna and Bobby, and it's so great. Bobby saying that, like, talking to Lorna, before you, I was straight as an arrow.
She says, yeah, right.
Well, we read the first issue, actually.
Anyway, so back to Rachel and Scott, and Rachel's like, because she's talking about like her powers were really foggy, like they weren't working, but they're starting to work a little bit, and she starts sensing that Xavier was there, and Cyclops is like, Xavier's here? And she's like, no, he was here. And he's like, well, what was he thinking? And she's like, it doesn't work like that. It's just impressions. Like, I know Xavier was here. And he's like, well, what does that mean? She's like, I don't know. And he's like, well, then why are you saying it? Like, he's basically trying to pull out any practical information from Rachel's senses, and then, like, it leads to nothing. And he's just like, then why?
It's like, when we get out of here, I'm going to train you without you using your powers.
Oh, that's fucked up. He kind of does beat women that way. And, like, underage women.
Underage men, too. Who was it?
Hijack, he did it.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, he was beating up Hijack.
And the other dude.
Yeah,
Deeds. Mr. Deeds.
Yeah, Mr. Deeds.
Benjamin.
Yeah, Benjamin. I kept wanting to call him Brendan for some reason.
He doesn't look like
Same
a Brendan.
thing.
Yeah.
It's cracker ass.
But yeah, I just thought that was funny because it's like, that must be so annoying to have to deal with people who are psychic and they're like being super vague about what they're sensing. And you're just like, why are you saying anything then? It's like someone who likes talking about horoscopes.
Also weird that Cyclops doesn't know how those work, considering everybody close to him is a psychic.
Yeah.
I feel like she did have information, but he just wanted more.
Well, nothing that they could go off of. It was just like, Xavier was here once.
That's information?
No.
Not stuff he wanted to hear, though.
Cyclops, like,
Xavier could have been at a Starbucks once. Like, what was...
What matters a lot more.
All that Xavier being there proves that that's not the first time that two people were kidnapped and held there.
It ties Xavier to this whole thing.
Yeah, true. It does. It implicates him as being involved.
And they're looking for Xavier, so Scott's like, where is he?
It's just so weird how vague it is. Like, it's just a hunch. Just like, I feel like there was a wheelchair and a bald man. It has to be Xavier, right?
I was going to say there's tire tracks.
Use this place for something. I don't know. Teach kids, sex dungeon. I don't know. Something.
Teach kids in a sex dungeon.
One of those two things. Probably what he used it for.
Anyway.
But I feel like you would have a diaper fetish. Like somebody has to change them.
Vulcan shows up and he gets in Scott's face basically. Just like, you don't know me, but I don't care. You're going to pay and this is punishment. And then it's like... And then Rachel is going to, use because psychic powers.
It's like, I'm not the Hood, by the way. I know we're dressed the same, but I'm not him.
But my eyes glow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He does have good...
So do the Hoods.
Do they?
Yeah.
He's got good dialogue, though. I like Vulcan's dialogue. He's like, I promise you one thing. I won't lie to you. And then Scott's like, what's your middle name? Where were you born? Where do you live? It's like, whoa! I didn't say I'm answering questions.
What's your middle name? I like that he wants to know his middle name before his first and last.
He's like, he tells him
Christopher. Christopher. My father's name is Christopher.
Are you Summers?
At least it's not Francis.
Your eyes glow.
He's like, I know it's a weird way to jump to conclusions, but anybody whose name has ever been close to mine, I've been related to.
Or who has vaguely psychic powers.
There was an old man I saw once, questioned him about it. Turned out he was my son.
We got the same mustache.
Yeah. No mustache. I love that idea that Two completely shaven people are like, we got the same facial hair.
Oh, because that's how he figured out
The same
Corsair
mustache.
might be his dad. He had that mustache. Like, wait a minute, this mustache looks oddly familiar.
I mustache you something.
Mustache you.
Oh, this is the stupidest episode we've ever done.
I mustache you. Who is your father? Oh no, some space pirate.
I'll shave my questions for later.
Fuck you. Oh man. Anyway.
So Nightcrawler.
Well, no. First, Vulcan mentions that, like, you know, Scott's there for punishment, but that he threatens Rachel again, and is like, I can make her dead just as easy as the other guy. And then Scott realizes, okay, so he knows me but doesn't know us because he thinks he killed Wolverine. So he's starting to plan, like, all right, we got information he doesn't have, so there's that. And now it's trying to figure out what strategic advantage that gives. Well, obviously being that, like, Logan's going to show back up at some point and the guy's going to be at least surprised, like, oh, shit.
Ah, I killed you.
I guess not. Or are there more of you? And he's like, both.
Yeah. There's so many of me, bub.
And then Banshee is on his way. He's in a plane, and he's got the file that he found where Moira's calling Xavier a dick and crying. And the... I don't even fucking know what I wrote there.
God damn, your fucking handwriting is
Oh, yeah.
garbage.
Okay, so... No, I remember what it is. Because Vulcan went up to Rachel at this point also, and he grabbed her head, and it's sort of heavily implied that he's using her psychic powers to go into the mind of others, and that's why they're seeing ghosts. So you start seeing all these characters are seeing ghosts in their past. Like, for some reason, Colossus, like, his origin had to do with, like, the Red Room or something? Like, the Red Room was coming for Ilyana, maybe?
Yeah,
Or...
didn't the Red Room take Ilyana?
Oh, I don't even remember.
I didn't know about that.
I thought she just grew up in hell.
Yeah.
Yeah, but she was a girl in Russia.
Yeah, 7-year-old girl.
Yeah.
A girl in Russia. They
right.
took...
It's only one room. They can't hold all the girls.
Xavier proves you can fit many children in one room. But I think they just kidnapped, like, little girls. I think the Red Room trains you up from when you were, like, a small child.
But was
She
in
wasn't trained.
in AVX.
I know, but they would want to take her.
Right, but in AVX, that was like the thing between her and Black Widow, right? Black Widow was like, well, I was brought up in the Red Room because she was like, I was raised in limbo, and they like pitted
Stabby.
And then she's like, and I am all the Jedi.
Yeah. So, I am all the Jedi. Anyway, they all start having those sorts of visions, all the X-Men. And you see that, like, Vulcan's, like, just using Rachel's psychic powers to induce it all. And then he goes from that to just chilling in the Blackbird, and he's, like, listening to Banshee talk to Kurt. Because
Magnets.
no radios, because a Blackbird.
Hey, he doesn't know how they work.
If you don't know how something works, it's probably magnets.
The Blackbird would be patched into whatever radio system Kurt's using, and Banshee is talking to Kurt, and he's like, "I'm gonna give you all the details to my fucking flight," which is weird. Because, like, he could just be like, I'm going to land at this airport. And then they could just go to that airport. Instead, he gives them, like, coordinates or whatever.
Yeah,
like,
that's weird.
Yeah. And Vulcan's writing it all down. So, then Wolverine and Nightcrawler...
Repeat that. I need a pen. Hold up. Going in the back.
Oh, no. All right, I jumped ahead of myself. Chasing ghosts is what I wrote. Now I realize it. He didn't use... Vulcan didn't use Rachel yet.
He uses her for Emma.
He uses her later. Banshee mentions, like, I feel like I was chasing ghosts. And then Nightcrawler's like, ghosts? You say?
Ghost.
No, just a regular kind.
And he might be using her. It doesn't say otherwise. To give those people the members.
Right.
But
Yeah, because they show it directly later.
I thought they showed up before, but I could be wrong.
Yeah, I know it's weird, but comics, I guess. Because I don't know why specifically it's all happening, but then you see Vulcan
Stay tuned
later.
for part 2, when hopefully we'll know why.
Yeah, what I said actually happens in the next issue. But anyway, so while Wolverine and Nightcrawler are sort of racing in a Jeep to the airport, that's when Nightcrawler's like, so like, I was chased by ghosts, and I thought then he mentioned something about ghosts, and then I saw a weird look on Havoc's face, like he just saw Bobby say that he was fucking Lorna to Lorna, in that he used to be straight.
I've seen that look on his face before.
And so
he gets it every time
definitely
he watches the
ghosts or fighting ghosts here. It's really weird. And Wolverine's like, all right, yeah, whatever, but either way, we got to hurry up and get to this airport.
And they're like, hey, look, planes.
Yeah, basically. They're like, hey, isn't that the Blackbird? And he's like, what? And then Banshee.
Wolverine says he saw a ghost too. Jean.
Yeah, that's right. He brings up Jean.
Which is before Rachel.
Yeah.
He might be, yeah, but they might be using Rachel to amplify two people that she knows, whereas they were right in front of Vulcan, so he could have just.
I think Vulcan.
I think the ghosts are real.
No, I think Vulcan's using a different power that's allowing him to do it, and then he uses Rachel to amplify the power.
Yeah, well, because Rachel probably has a connection with those people because they're so far away.
Yeah. So, anyway, Banshee sees the Blackbird is coming at the plane, and he's like, oh shit, well, I gotta save all these people. And he jumps out, and he proceeds to try to have a screaming match with a jet, and it doesn't work out.
More people. He would have saved more people if he ran away, because he did not do anything to help.
I think he's got no power right now.
It's like running out.
Yeah.
And plus, some douchebag's like, "Hey, the seatbelt sign's on." Banshee gets up and starts messing with his bags, and he's got some dude next to him talking shit.
Yeah, so Banshee fights the Blackbird, and he loses.
Badly.
That was such a horrible way to die.
Yeah.
He just jumps out and face first right into a Blackbird.
It's sort of like because he does that, and he's like, this was a bad idea. And is immediately, like,
no
impaled and
It
explodes.
turns out his scream was, fuck!
It's pretty much exactly what it was.
Yeah. And ironically, the short story to follow is about Darwin, the man who can't die.
From planes, at least.
Yeah.
He can only die from plot. From racism and plot.
So, yeah, Darwin's story is basically, he's a little mutant boy who his father's like, you're a monster. I couldn't have made you. I'm out of here. And so then his mother hated him because she's like, well, I'm not going to abandon you, but also, like, fuck you because your dad abandoned us because you're a freak, so you're a freak, and I don't like you.
Yeah, so get out. Go be smart.
And for all they know, he just has, like, alopecia. Like, he's just a kid who, like, has no hair.
Yeah,
anyway.
He does look just like Charlie Villanueva.
He's got long arms and a big head.
Yeah, but, like, he's a
Not
kid,
bad.
so, like,
Yeah.
kids always have big heads compared to their body, and so
True.
long arms is the only thing.
Like monkey bar champion over
Like,
here.
Matthew McConaughey has short arms,
Yeah, true.
and he's not, like, a freak to society. He's fairly successful.
Matthew McConaughey.
Barely.
Yeah.
He's a freak.
He's a freak.
Yeah.
He does like Lincolns too much.
He's Southern.
That makes him liking Lincolns even weirder.
I know.
Anyway, so he ends up being kind of a genius. And his mom's like, oh, for real? He's really smart? Well, then, are there schools that are willing to house him and feed him instead?
And pay me?
In fact, yeah. Are there
That's
schools that would
suspicious.
pay me to take him?
How much can I get for this little bitch?
Right.
And Darwin's like, and this is the happiest day of my life. When my mother is so
Sold
proud
me.
of me and is basically selling me.
How much do you think I could get for him?
His happiness, too, is creepy as fuck. You look at the the child Darwin and the way he's smiling at his mother's happiness in the last panel on that page is like...
When you don't have eyebrows, every time you smile, it looks sinister.
Well, I mean, even his lips is sort of like he's trying to be polite next to someone who's just farting real bad.
That's why his eyebrows fall out.
Yeah. So that was weird. And then, so he goes to the boarding school, and then he's picked on, and they dunk his head underwater, and then he's like, I could breathe underwater.
But like the shit gets in the gills.
That was pretty dope, though. I like that scene. He gets a swirly, and then it's like, I realized I could breathe underwater.
Yeah.
Toilet water. Tastes like shit in here.
And then they pull him up, and then he just beats up the bullies because his skin gets real hard. And then they never pick on him again.
Turns out he's into that kind of thing.
And then he goes home, and his mom fell asleep with a cigarette, and she lights the house on fire, and then he saves his mom, and he's fine.
Yeah, that's why she definitely tried to kill him.
Yeah.
Because he's there. They specifically say that he doesn't even come back for every holiday because she don't want him there. So he's like there for maybe Christmas every year, and she just happens to burn the house down that one day.
Yeah.
It was so suspicious because she's like, she had fallen asleep with the cigarette. It looks like she's laying on the middle of the living room floor.
Yeah.
Who's sleeping like that? And she's in a suit in the middle of the living room floor.
Because she's paid, bruh.
I guess you can do whatever you want when you're rolling in the dough.
Yeah. How else are you supposed to roll in the dough if not on the floor?
That's why the cigarette fell on the money in it.
Exactly. Anyway, Darwin, they're like, well, this kid's obviously fucking crazy in so many ways. We got to study him. So he starts getting studied by a bunch of scientists, and they're like, hey, you're a mutant. And he's like, you know what? That makes sense.
I never knew.
I can adapt to that.
But I always knew. It's crazy. He's like, I just didn't have a word for it, but I always knew. It was something people hated and feared. And then he gets rejected by his mom. Again, she slaps him in the face because he's a freak. Because no son of hers is a mutie, so he can't be her son. It's like, did you not... Like, it was your vagina, right?
Yeah.
Like, you had to have...
You sainted.
No, you sainted.
The stork brought you.
He was always bald and hairless.
Just Mr. Sinister dropped him off.
And so then he tries to kill himself, but then of course his body won't even let him kill himself. But he still has the epiphany. Oh, this was a bad idea, as he goes to do it, and then he lands perfectly because his bones get all light and hollow, and like he stretches and elongates, and he becomes springy. And he's all like, "I even almost bounced," or the narrator's like, "He even almost bounced." Yeah.
Which, when you do jump off of a building, you do bounce. That's not like a thing unique to him.
No, but that he didn't. Like, he adapted to the drop so well that, like, he just absorbed it all and was cool. Just chill. He just did a real deep squat.
Yeah, definitely below parallel right there.
Yeah.
He jumps off and
Below
just
parallel.
pulls his groin.
It's getting it deep, man.
Yeah.
And then the principal's all like, hey, bud, I know you tried to kill yourself. Good thing you didn't. And it's not so bad. There's a nice lady who wants to talk to you. And he's like, oh, really? And that's the end of that.
Yeah. It's so much better, though, with the nice lady.
Xavier in makeup.
Because they stopped letting him take kids, so he just dresses up now.
Well, because it's implied, right? You think it's Xavier with Petra. Because they just say someone. And then in this, they're like, it's a lady. And you're like, oh, a lady.
She's a lady.
I'm saying it's so much better because when it's Xavier, you're like, oh.
And I didn't even think Moira at first. I thought Jean for some reason. I thought Xavier just sent Jean.
Yeah. They'll listen to you. They stopped giving me children a long time ago. They put me on some kind of list.
I'm telling you, it's Xavier, but he has like a wig on and he's putting makeup on in the mirror.
They've blackballed me, those bastards.
We'll see who's laughing at who.
He's like, my name is Cassandra. I don't know why that sounds so right.
Scott's like, can't you just use your powers, Xavier? What? Use my powers on innocents? I would never. Plus, this lipstick looks great on me.
All right, so issue 3. Logan is telling Beast about Banshee, basically. He's just like, so you know our boy?
He's not fireproof.
No.
Turns out fire does beat a flying type.
He's not Blackbird proof.
Beast is looking like he needs a meal.
And Beast, he's like, hold up, I hear something on the roof. And Wolverine's like, no, you got to listen to me. It's not just that his plane went down and that's terrible. And Beast sees it's all of like a bunch of Sentinels and ONE showing up. He's like, I've been trying to tell you, anything you got that you don't want ONE to find, hide it.
Flush your stash.
Because it was the Blackbird that brought down
maybe
the plane.
open with that.
Yeah, maybe.
He's like, there was a plane crash. And he's like, okay. Banshee was on it. Oh, why didn't you lead with that? And he's like, yeah, well, it was with the Blackbird. He's like, you gotta lead with the important stuff first.
Yeah. And Beast's like, well, it's too late. ONE's here, and they're bursting in. And then back to Vulcan, and this is when he uses Rachel, and then everyone starts seeing their ghost stuff.
Which some more dope, I was going to say lyrics, dialogue from Vulcan, because Rachel's like, oh, his powers are wearing off. I can start to think now. He's like, yeah, because I'm completely incompetent, right? He just shows up like he was willingly letting her powers come back.
Yeah.
She thought they were getting the jump on him.
And then he pulls her down from the wall he has her like strapped to, and then Scott's like, don't hurt her, and he's like, I'm not gonna hurt her. And he's like, I'm just gonna use her, and like siphons her power, and then everyone gets haunted because ghosts. And then back to ONE infiltrating the mansion, just like questioning them. Where's your Blackbird? Where's your Blackbird? Oh, we'll tell you where it is. In a plane. In a domestic plane in pieces.
Could ONE have a more generic name that tells you nothing about like what kind of government agency they do?
Right? They're just the
Office of National Emergency.
Yeah.
Like, what does that do?
Well, it's mutants. The mutants are a national emergency.
They just take care of like, it's like, President needs us to go after mutants? Done. He needs a glass of water? Done.
Anything.
That's kind of like, that's one of the things that is a little upsetting. Because I am an Iron Man fan, but like ONE's created under him, like when he's like controlling things. And I know it's not directly created from him, but like it's still like he's the guy in charge and someone under him made ONE, and he's like, yeah, that's cool. They're not going to mind, right? Sentinels? Just
It's
watching, they're guarding them. They're protecting them.
Speaking of Iron Man, it is really weird how like a lot of these organizations in the Marvel universe like take out plans that have nothing to do with what their name is, like Advanced Idea Mechanics has like an idea of like, we're gonna kill the president. It's like that
It's not that advanced.
the mechanics of that idea are very advanced.
We're gonna rule the world.
But yeah, the fact that they use Sentinels is kind of a slap in the face.
Yeah. So anyway, they're like, you're Blackbird, your mess, you did this, you're in trouble. And then they're like, it was stolen.
Yeah.
It wasn't our Blackbird. Like it was our Blackbird, but like
Yeah.
someone else used it and crashed it into the plane. And they're like, you want us to believe that the X-Men couldn't stop someone from taking the Blackbird? And then Emma's like, we were fucking trying. Like we're looking for him. You're getting in the way, you idiot. And
Like,
then
Kitty saves everybody by just literally being a white woman.
yeah,
and
she's like,
doing-
I reported it stolen.
Yeah, doing what all white women do and just calling the police.
You clearly didn't read the reports.
She's like, I also have a ticket in here about some kids in a lemonade stand.
without a permit.
She reported Petra.
Yeah.
Or Sally. No, it was Sally.
Sally and Petra, their corpses on her hands.
Whoa, I thought it was Sally and Shelley.
Both of them. Petra was hanging out with them. She was a supplier at Diamonds.
Anyway, so Havoc, still seeing ghosts himself, he sees Xavier and Corsair talking, and they're like, hey, space pirate, I know you're their dad. And he's like, how you know I'm their dad? And he's like, well, I could read your mind, man. also, your brain's a lot like Scott's brain. So I guess, I saw your big bug room is what I'm getting at.
Also, you've been mumbling about your 2 children coming out of an a helicopter. Or airplane. No, it's right there.
Yeah. And I saw your mustache matches their mustache. So lots of reasons, really, why I know you're their dad, but they must never know you're their dad. And he's like, all right.
Change your name.
So weird that Alex saw that specifically. And then, so Kitty shows that the report that it was stolen, and then they're like, geez, Emma, you weren't helping situations, being all angry and yelling at them. And she's like, sorry, I'm just irritated because someone's been trying to get into my brain.
Yeah, more a beast, like trying to calm the situation.
Yeah.
Because she was clearly being a dick. And he's like, whoa, she's not saying that. Because she says, so maybe you fuckwits can go chase your tails elsewhere.
Yeah.
And he's like, Emma, what she means is we're all a bit in shock here. Yeah. We're all a bit shook.
You fuckwits.
So Wolverine and Kurt, they start searching the wreckage, and Kurt's like, can you smell anything? And he's like, oh, I mean, it's all just
what the Rock is cooking.
it's all covered up by jet fuel and burning bodies. And they're like, all right.
Which we know doesn't melt steel beams.
Did you just go 9/11 on him?
Yeah. I didn't bring 9/11 to this. The airplanes brought 9/11. Patriot Act, airplanes. This book predicted 9/11 5 years after it happened. Coincidence? I think not.
Anyway, so they find Banshee's body, which is remarkably intact. And they're like, he must have gone through the windshield of the Blackbird.
They didn't show you the front, which is just covered in glass cuts.
Well, yeah. I'm just saying, like, it's not ripped apart, And then, is this the point where he dies and then doesn't come back until he's like a zombie?
Yeah.
In Rosenberg's run? Interesting. Because I know he comes back briefly during... what is it? Fear Itself, I think? Or, no, not Fear Itself.
He gets hit by another plane.
No, there's a small crossover where a bunch of dead X-Men come back.
Phoenix Resurrection.
No, it was before Phoenix Resurrection.
He is in that,
He was in the
though.
diner.
But he was in that too?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, he was the Cassidy that I thought was Carnage.
Oh,
But it
yeah.
wasn't.
All right, so anyway, they find his body, and then Vulcan, done using Rachel, Rachel then goes to psychically attack him, and then he, psychically attacks her first, and then physically attacks her, and Scott's like, you said you wouldn't hurt her. And he's like, I lied. But also, she forced my hand. She made a move. Yeah. And also, all she did was kind of look at him, but again, psychic, so whatever. And then back to,
That's when he kind of states that, she was stronger than he had anticipated.
Right.
That she's not helpless.
right.
She may be more like the original Marvel Girl than he had suspected.
And then Wolverine finds Moira's A-Track player who had survived the crash, and he's like, I think this is it. And Kurt's like, why do you think that? And he's like, because it says Moira McTaggart on it.
Muir Island. Yeah, because
Yeah.
you're like, we'll never find it in this wreckage. It's like a perfectly pristine briefcase that says Muir Island on it.
Basically, yeah.
It's like may contain tapes.
So they get that and take that back to the mansion. Meanwhile, Rachel gets put back up on that wall, and she's talking to Scott, and she's like, so when I attack, because Scott was like, you did great. You're a lot like Jean, because you fought back.
I wouldn't base anything else on her because she dies a lot. So maybe try to be less like Jean.
But then she's like, so I was in his brain for a second when he was using mine, and he knew Xavier, and not just knew him, he trained with Xavier. And Scott's like, what?
Yeah, another shocked look.
And then back to the tape. They're playing it, and it's Moira crying, and she's like, he took my kids, and he got them killed. That rat bastard. And she's crying, and because, Xavier's a dick.
Yep.
For so many reasons. This is a really big reason.
Yeah, this is a big, one of the reasons why Cyclops is so mad at him during, the Utopia
era.
Yeah,
Is finding all this out.
It's also Xavier's thing.
Yeah.
Kidnapping children and
turning them into soldiers. Yeah.
Yeah, he's Coney.
Anyway, so then we're introduced to Sway, who...
From the fucking
Sway
radio
in the
show.
morning.
Yeah. Yeah. She's a girl who was with her parents, and then just a gang drives by and shoots at them for no apparent reason, and she doesn't die because her powers manifest, and so she stops the bullets, she thinks, but then she learns that she didn't stop the bullets. She stopped time, but right in front of her to stop the bullets. Actually, I don't know how I felt about this one. It was a really kind of convoluted story.
She swayed the bullets over to her parents. They're only aiming at her.
That's so fucked up. But yeah, the police are all like, we don't understand. They shot over 100 rounds. Your parents are dead. That makes sense. You not being dead, that doesn't make sense.
Because nobody ever survives a drive-by.
Well, they shouldn't have.
I don't know if you know this, but drive-by shooters, notoriously bad at aiming.
Yeah, but they shot 100 rounds.
Yeah.
So, they stopped to shoot and then drove back off.
Well, the reason why it was weird is because, she didn't actually stop the bullets. She stopped them in time and then walked out of the way, and then all the bullets...
Yeah, because they were still in the wall.
Yeah, where she would have been standing. So they thought it was weird that, there wasn't that, funny body outline where no bullets hit the wall.
Yeah, but maybe she ducked.
So then she ends up getting trapped kind of in her own powers, where because her powers are twofold. She can stop time, but then she could also kind of go back in time herself, but it just seeing ghost images. I wonder if this is going to come around. Where she's seeing things in history play out around her that have already happened. And she then it uses that to follow where the group of people who killed her parents came from, to know where they were. And then she tells the police, they show up, and then those guys try to kill the police, and she stops the bullets then, stops time again, moves the bullets from the police, and then they're able to arrest the people. And then guy's like, hey, so you're a mutant, great power set, turns out someone wants to meet you, it's Moira McTaggart.
Also, because her powers are twofold, how hilarious. She's like, all right, froze the bullets, gonna unfreeze them now. She unfreezes them, but at the same time, she sends the cop back in time to where he's standing right in front of it.
So she undoes what she just did?
Yeah.
She's like, oh, fuck. They get all shut up.
Horrible.
Yeah.
She's not reversing time.
No, she's personally traveling back in time.
No, she just saw an imprint of what happened. Like a replaying of a tape, because she was in the present time.
Yeah, no, she's in, she's traveling through the time stream without physically being present in it. So she's seeing all the stuff happen wherever she goes. Yeah.
Watching a tape of the past.
Exactly. But living
That's a shit power. You just start continuously recording the last 13 seconds or whatever.
Well, it worked good for her.
Yeah. It doesn't say that it's limited to the last 13 seconds.
It's like that one chick from Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. though, who has super speed, but she always ends up right back.
Oh, Yo-Yo?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
you just shoot to where she was and you're going to hit her at some point?
Oh.
Yeah. She can never move from that. She's always going to go, she can run at you and take away your gun, but if there's already a bullet moving, it's going to hit you.
That's a nerf if I ever heard one.
Yeah, she gets her arms chopped off real fast.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
but no, I thought that was pretty cool but the real question is, why was she there? Because she called the cops oh, they're here, and normally a cop would be like, yeah, you need to leave because we're about to have a big old shootout right here.
Because comics, bruh.
Yeah.
It's just a short story to introduce the character's power set.
She had a cool power set, though. I mean, they all did. Darwin's was my favorite.
And, I mean, you think about it. Unkillable. Earth manipulation. Seeing time remnants. Like, we're seeing all that play out, obviously, that these characters have been introduced, but we only see one character in Vulcan. So, you know, does that have anything to do with each other? Yes. Maybe not. Yes. Yeah, but that's the first 3 issues right there.
You're saying Vulcan has one of those powers?
No, I'm saying Vulcan has all those powers.
How?
Comics.
He didn't manipulate any buttholes.
No, he used the Earth to grab the shuttle so it didn't crash when it came down.
Oh yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
He didn't manipulate its butthole. Every ship has a butthole. And we have social media that you should go follow our pages. Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube. Everything is at Mex-Men Podcast. Now we actually show up if you type in Mex-Men Podcast.
Oh, that's awesome.
Try it out. See if it's true.
Yeah, or just click the link in the description. But you're already listening to this, so you listen on whatever thing you're listening to. There's all sorts of stuff to buy. Do that. Search. Look at it. What Devin's trying to say is
stuff, and you can buy it.
We have items available on TeePublic.
There are onesies. There are mugs.
You let it off good. I was hoping you would.
Tapestries.
If you don't have a baby, you should buy a onesie and put it on a stuffed animal. And if you don't have one, you should buy a stuffed animal.
Cover your animal's butthole.
Oh yeah,
with a onesie.
Put it on your dog or something. That'd be hilarious.
Legal wants me to tell you guys that we can't have people covering up animals' buttholes.
Why? No, your stuffed animals, your teddy bears.
He said animals.
Well, okay, yeah.
Don't cover up an animal's butthole.
Onesies have butt flaps. It's all right. You just unbutton the butt.
The dog can't unbutton that.
You unbutton it for the dog.
You're not supposed to put a dog in pants.
It's unnatural.
If you have a monkey, maybe a monkey might be a good idea.
If you have a monkey, you should send us a picture of that monkey
wearing our onesie.
Yeah.
Oh, and so many other cool things. Things for your wall. Things for the back window of your car. Things for the side window of your car. Things for your chest so it's not bare and your boobies aren't out.
Things for anything a sticker can go on.
So anything.
Anything except your skin. But you can tattoo our logo on you if you want. I wouldn't recommend it.
Yeah, don't do that. Don't do that.
But you could, and nobody's gonna stop you. But
we need those water tattoos, you know? The temporary tattoos we need.
That would be awesome to have. I don't know if we have the technology to pull that off. But yeah, link for everything is in the description. For the TeePublic, for all the social media, for the YouTube, and that's for today.